Hi, friends. Sean coming to you again with another of my I Want You to Open Your Window Right Now YouTube channel video commentaries. Today I'm going to talk about a dust-up that occurred in the last few days after the confirmation hearings for for Ben Carson, who's been appointed by Donald Trump to be the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Dr. Carson is someone I admire a lot, and I think he's a very interesting guy. It's amazing to me how easy it is for someone to draw the ire of the extremist progressives in this country. All the guy has done is dedicate his life to doing brain surgery on children, participating in and directing love and energy to every charity he could find to, assist the less fortunate. He's a man of exquisite faith, and he's a really good Christian. He's willing to speak about those issues in an honest way, which is something that in our nation now that seems to almost consider Christianity to be like a fringe. If you watch the mainstream media, it's very refreshing to someone like me. I think we're developing sort of an anti-Christian bigotry in this country because of the need for certain people to protect their views that might not be very moral concerning issues like abortion, especially late-term abortion, and things like climate change and so forth, and evolution. This has almost become like a religious of scientism. And not that I'm disputing any of those things necessarily, but at this I'm not going to get into that. But certainly science, it's very odd for the reactions that you get from that crowd. I'll call them the militant scientism crowd, where if you express any doubt about the fact that we're facing a global calamity imminently because of a slightly elevated level of carbon in the atmosphere. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that the projection is that it's going to go from 0.003 parts per million to 0.004. If you even bother to raise a question about how can that point to the calamity that you describe, and you want us to eliminate the internal combustion engine and sentence 1 billion people to starve to death without access to basic technologies and stuff. The firebrand reaction that you're a science denier, you're one of those crazy people, you have your head in the sand, you're part of the Flat Earth Society. It's almost a hysterical reaction from these people, and the question is why. If you look back at our history, it was supposed to be the church institutions that if anyone questioned their dogma, that they'd burn them at the stake. But it seems like we have a lot of virtual burning at the stake and attempt to discredit really good people if they express or even discuss any view that the dominant culture media elite finds aberrant. So I think we're in a real pickle. So recently this came to a head. I really do admire Dr. Carson. I'm not sure I was going to vote for him for president of the United States. I'm not sure he has the executive experience for that, but he's definitely a good man, an honest man. It would be a great improvement over some of our recent leadership, especially the last few years. So I just don't understand the militant anti-Dr. Carson reaction that certain people, even my friends and neighbors, have. It really troubles me, frankly, and to me it's a real indicator of the decline in discourse. And it's like you're not even allowed to have your own opinions these days without running afoul of some militant, politically correct, almost Nazi person that that just wants to call you out and make trouble and call you a moron. And I mean, the guy is a brain surgeon. He's a moron. I mean, I really don't. But a guy like Anthony Weiner to them is a friggin' genius. I don't understand these people. I really don't. Anyway, the controversy from this week was that Senator Elizabeth Warren sits on the hearing for his confirmation hearings for HUD Secretary, and they had a little exchange. And I'm going to play it for you right now. It concerns Miss Warren. Seems very genuinely concerned that Trump is going to somehow use the office of presidency to personally profit. And she seems to be of the opinion that, like a guy like Warren Buffett, that he should just move all of his shares into some blind trust and that way, he won't know what's going on. That's such a fantasy island. I mean, we haven't elected a president like Donald Trump in many, many years, ever really. But it's certainly 100 years or more, who actually has businesses that he built himself, and hard assets and real estate, long-term investments in tangible businesses. You can't just divest. I mean, it would destroy the company. He's gone out of his way to create a legal framework to create separation, and it's all transparent. I find it so ironic that Ms. Warren is so concerned about this when in Washington, D.C., the Senate and the Congress people, that they openly do insider trading down there about stocks. So they'll be passing legislation like Obamacare, and meanwhile, they're all in the back rooms investing in United Healthcare and all these stocks that are going to take off like a rocket as soon as the details are known. And that's all perfectly legitimate. 60 Minutes did a really great expose on that a few years back. Total silence about, that is, you want to talk about a culture of corruption. That's a nation of corruption right there. And they're worried that this guy who has his name on all of his businesses is going to somehow orchestrate things to benefit himself personally, as if that isn't going to be one of the most visible things on earth. By the way, Donald Trump is not his father, okay? He doesn't build tenement apartments. He's not a slumlord. He doesn't build low-cost housing. That's not his business. He does hotel properties and upscale, like golf courses. That's not his business. I don't understand where this is coming from. But anyway, to understand the exchange, Senator Warren is asking Dr. Carson if he can really assure her that not a single dollar of HUD will benefit any of the Trump companies, as if he would have control over that, some tangential connection. But I want you to pay attention to the exchange, because this is another fine example of media personalities lying to you, to your face. And they know that many of you and many of us don't have time to pay attention, to go to first-person sources and hear what people actually said. So it bothers me. This is an ideology. It bothers me when famous and trusted news personalities, leaders lie to your face knowingly, and then they leave it out there and they don't correct the record. So let's listen to the exchange, and then I'll show you what became of it. Okay? So here we are on the there we go. Here's the exchange. Sorry for the slow. I'm getting used to this. Here we go. Enjoy.
Can you just assure us that not $1 will go to benefit either the president-elect or his family?
It will not be my intention to do anything to benefit any American.
I understand that.
I'm going to back that up because the internet hiccuped right there. So let's listen to that again.
It will not be my intention to do anything to benefit any American.
I understand that.
It's for all Americans,
but
everything that we do.
Do I take that to mean that you may manage programs that will significantly benefit the president-elect?
You can take it to mean that I will manage things in a way that benefits the American people. That is going to be the goal.
To the best you understand that.
So there you go. There's the exchange. She's asking him, very honestly, hey, are you going to be able to, make sure that the Trump organizations don't profit a single dollar from any of the HUD funds? I'm not sure why they would, but as if it's some massive conspiracy for personal profit. I mean, running for president has already cost Donald Trump billions of dollars, and not to mention the hassle and the incredible dexterity and sort of energy that he put into traveling the country and listening to the American people and really developing a rapport with them. Like he would be doing this for personal profit. I guess transparency is my viewpoint as to how you solve that problem. No backroom dealings, no personal profit by secret. His name is on all of his companies, so if there's some big deal that gets cooked up where he's profiting, we're going to know it. We have transparency. We have sunshine. I don't understand what the big fear is. To me, I'm more afraid, Ms. Warren, that you will profit as a senator since you have legalized insider trading. So if you're working on an energy package or something like the TPP or something like a revision to the broadcasting laws. You'll have inside information. And can you assure me that none of the representatives and senators who are going to vote on that package are going to profit $1 from insider knowledge of that stuff? You can't, because you're all a bunch of corrupt people. But I find this line of questioning, sort of ridiculous on its face. But the reaction from mainstream media, as you saw, there was some crosstalk in the exchange. So lo and behold, in my newsfeed, as I'm reading Facebook one day, I have a friend of mine who suddenly decides to post this little snippet. It's a quote from Joe Scarborough, the NBC News personality, and he quotes Ben Carson as follows from that exchange. "It will not be my intention to do anything to benefit any American." Ben Carson. And if you notice, he says to do anything to benefit any American. Period. End quote. Right? Okay, so period. Like that was the end of a sentence. Right? So let's go back to the videotape, if you don't mind, and let's see what he actually said. And let's see if that purports to reality.
In grants and loans, can you just assure us that not $1 will go to benefit either the president-elect or his family?
It will not be my intention to do anything to benefit any American.
I understand that.
It's for all Americans.
But
so did you hear him while he paused? There was crosstalk with Senator Warren. He said, "It will not be my intention to do anything to benefit," and then he paused and he said, "any American." And then during the crosstalk he said particularly, but he mispronounced because she was cross-talking him. And then he kept speaking afterwards and said, "It's for all Americans, everything that we do." So there's no question that he did not say what Mr. Scarborough attributed to him, right? I mean, let's hear it again. Let's hear it again.
To do anything to benefit any American.
I understand that.
It's for all Americans,
But
everything that we do.
do I take that to mean that you
It's for all Americans, everything that we do. So, okay, so the man misspoke. There was some crosstalk going on. So is this misleading? Is this a lie? What are we dealing with here? "It will not be my intention to do anything to benefit any American. Period. End quote. Ben Carson." And then a little funny emoticon like, I don't understand. What is this guy, an idiot? So, okay, this thing is being shared around all over the place by friends of mine. And that's not what the man said. That's a lie. That is a lie. And that's, to be honest, this is the incident that prompted me to start this channel. I want you to open your window right now, because I think, quite frankly, Joe Scarborough, if I was the president, and let me just preface this by saying, I kind of like Joe Scarborough. He served a little time in the House of Representatives. He seems like a decent fellow. I listen to his analysis and Mika's occasionally. I read their columns and stuff and excerpts on YouTube. And I think in general you're getting honest analysis sometimes from them. I'm not an expert on them, but to publish that out on Twitter, and then to leave it. He did sort of a clarification, non-apology, non-retraction. Let's take a look at that. It's on his Twitter feed. Let's get back to it here so you can see. A day or two later, he wrote, "It turns out that Ben Carson does not want to help all Americans. It turns out that he does. I think we knew that all along." So it's sort of a non-apology apology. So, I don't know what to make of this. I don't understand how that person can think that he's a journalist and he's doing something honest. I don't know how NBC could allow him to tweet an obvious lie like that and just leave him in place as someone who's supposed to be a purveyor of truth and analysis. And is it a lie? Oh, I can hear the technocrats already saying, well, that's not a lie. He actually did say those words. I've heard people say that in the last 72 hours. But here's the lie right here. Period. End quote. Okay? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The period and end quote is a lie. Joe Scarborough, you are a liar. You don't like it? Then challenge me and explain why. But see, this is what this channel is going to do. And so here's the vision that I have is you got to turn off the TV and you got to start following journalists and commentators and thinkers and idea people that you learn to respect, know, and trust. And I'm sorry, Joe Scarborough and his mainstream media, corporate media controllers that pull him like a puppet string, they're not trustworthy, okay? Anyone trustworthy would not have written that. And anyone trustworthy who shared it, let's say you just saw that tweet and you went, oh, what an idiot Ben Carson is, and then you shared it, like certain friends of mine who shall remain nameless, and then it's brought to your attention that that's not what he said, like the video I just showed. Not only did he not say that, he said the exact opposite. He said everything we do will be to benefit all Americans in the same breath. Okay, so that's not just a misquote. That is a 180-degree mischaracterization, and the only word is lie. That's a lie. Okay? Now, why do they do it? I think lots of the corporate media and elite types basically feel that it's okay to bash anyone who expresses Christian faith in public. You know, like he's some type of an idiot. I've heard people on social media say, he believes the earth is only 6,000 years old and that man lived on the planet with the dinosaurs, you know, as holding his faith against him. I've heard him talking in a conference or talk one time about creation versus the theory of evolution. You know, people forget to attach that word theory. And he was observing that where are the hybrid missing link skeletons? You know, where's the proof after 150 years? And so he's speculating. Let me tell you something, people who come off as like science is king and call people like us science deniers. Real science welcomes questions. Okay? That's the definition of science. And so if you're one of these people that shoots people down as anti-science for asking questions, then I'm sorry, but the only one who's subscribing to a religious dogma here is you. Okay? That's it for today. Thanks for joining us on I Want You to Open Your Window Right Now. I'm going to leave you with this. Preach it, brother. Another excerpt from the film Network, a classic. And like the man says, God help us if those networks ever fall into the wrong hands.
This tube is the gospel, the ultimate revelation. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. This tube is the most awesome goddamn force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it ever falls into the hands of the wrong people.
You're damn right, and it has fallen. It has fallen into the hands of the wrong people, and that's why people like you and I have a duty to speak up. And that's what we're doing. I'm Sean signing off. Hope you'll join us again.